Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video is a Black Library review. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at one of the many publications brought out by a Black Library and giving you our thoughts on the book, audio drama, whatever it happens to be. Now, I will say that we will try to keep this review to as spoiler free as possible, though there will obviously be points where we talk about things happening in the book. We will try to keep away from saying any of the major plot points, so you can go and read this book for yourself. We'll just give you our thoughts on whether or not we think it is something you may be interested in. So we'll use this video to instruct you on maybe is this sort of going to be a book that you would like to see. With that all said and out the way, let's get cracking on. Let's talk a little bit about the book that we have reviewed this time. In today's Black Library review, we're going to be checking out The Curse of Khaine by Gav Thorpe. This is book number 3 in the End Time Saga, The Death of Warhammer Old World, the death of the world that was Malice itself. Now, this one is, as I said, by Gav Thorpe, the third book in the series. This one really focuses upon the elves. We've done reviews for the first 2, as these have all started coming back out in audio version. Like always, I love to listen to a good audiobook while I'm doing some hobby, doing some editing, or doing some other stuff around the house, housework and that sort of stuff. So always enjoyable to have a good listen. Now, narrated by Andrew James Spooner, who I think is one of the best narrators they have going for them. Him, Richard Reed, are some of my favourite narrators and voice actors they've got going with these audiobooks. So look forward to chatting more about this as we go through the video. Let's get cracking on into it. And so, our story. The end times are coming, as we sort of know by now, being into book 3. With Naggaroth besieged, however, by the hordes of chaos, mostly Khaine hordes of chaos, the Witch King Malekith makes the decision to abandon the land of Chill, Naggaroth, and make one final attempt to seize the throne of Ulfland, land of the High Elves. Now, for those who don't know, and those who are maybe more Age of Sigmar, Malekith is now Malerian. This is the son of Marathi we're talking about. As the Druchi, or Dark Elves, march upon the soil of their ancestral home, once again, long-laid plans come to fruition, and treachery blooms, bringing Malekith closer than ever to his goal. All that stands in the Witch King's way, however, is the regent of Ulthuan, Prince Tyrion, the descendant of Anarian's line, as well as Malekith, and the darkness within Malekith's own soul, this bitterness, this hatred that's built up over 6,000 years of war against those that he feels wronged him in the first place. However, the Curse of Khaine calls. This is something that is dangerous to all the line of Anarian. It was Anarian's own undoing as he drew the Sword of Khaine to defeat the Great War of Chaos and that Great Horde of Chaos back in prehistory of the Old World. And so the story's purpose, this really is the story that ties up all the plot lines of the elves that have been playing on for edition upon edition of Warhammer Fantasy, or as some may not, Warhammer the Old World, as I guess it'll be called in sometime in the near future. Now we have Malekith versus Tyrion as our sort of main focus, Dark Elf versus High Elf, but this does feature all the big players in the sort of elven setting. We see characters like Corhill, the captain of the White Lions, Marathi. We also see, things like Kurin, captain of the Black Guard, Malekith's most trusted advisor. We see Maul's Darkblade. So many of these other characters, Lithanar, the Shadow King. But also, we see the Wood Elves even take part in this as well, with Ilariel and Ariel and Orion all taking part within the story as well, which is really, really cool. So there's definitely a lot going on, but this is really the story to tie up that 6,000 year war of the Elves. And so our main character, this whole story really is 99% of the time from Malekith's point of view, or at least with Malekith being the central focus of the story. Now, it definitely has other major players. Teclis is a really big part, and Kuran being, Malekith's most trusted advisor is another big part, and Kallador as well, along with Tyrion taking parts in it as well. But for me, it really is, heavily centered around Malekith, the Witch King, the son of Anarian himself. Now, which is really fun. Malekith is this dark, brooding character who, is by all means, the son of Anarian. He is the rightful heir to Ulthuan. Whether or not you agree with that, by right, he is. He is by birthright the son of an Aryan. He is the rightful king, the rightful Phoenix King. But over the course of the story, what does change about Malekith? And like I said, this is, Malekith sort of dealing with his own inner turmoil. He's this bitter, hateful, spiteful creature that was wronged so long ago and has just, been consumed by this hatred and sort of prodded by his mother Marathi as well, who's, has done nothing to maybe make him feel better about all the things that happened and really put him in the situation in the first place with the things she started to do. And we do get to see bits and pieces of that sort of story play out, which is really cool as well. But over the course of the story, Malekith, I guess, learns to be somewhat of a Phoenix King. I don't think he ever becomes a perfect Phoenix King, but he definitely learns that, he needs to lead through being an inspiring figure rather than being, this cruel, merciless, fearful character. So he, takes on a bit of that, what I guess his father was. He becomes a little bit more like his father, but he still is his mother's son as well. What does the book do well? First of all, I think the story really does a great job of just showing Malekith's bitterness, his hatred, this burning desire of him to simply want to be what he feels is rightfully his, and like I said, what is, his rightful birthright of being Phoenix King. I think it just really plays onto that. And part of this is because Khaine is one of the most intricate stories in the end times. There's so many moving parts with 3 factions, and literally every character bar Arahan and Nestria in the big book takes part somewhat in this story. And I feel, this book does cut out some of the things that are in the main big book, the books that were released for the end times. But I think this is to the book's betterment in that it just keeps to Malekith. We don't see those side parts and those side wars of maybe, Aralith's whole storyline. And which I recommend going and trying to find the big book and reading through Aralith. I think they're actually up in the Warhammer Vault, which is pretty cool. But for me, this was really, really cool. I like the fact that, it cut all that out. It explains a bunch of that in the background. It explains and sort of has it come up in conversation and things that are happening. But by doing all this and keeping all that stuff in the background of the story, we really get to focus more on Malekith, and I think to the book's betterment. So, who would like this book? For me, this is the ending as a Dark Elf fan. So many of my friends that were Dark Elf fans growing up through Warhammer Fantasy, this is the ending they all wanted. This is the end that they wanted to see. Malekith finally gets his goal. He is the Phoenix King, This book is for Dark Elf fans. It really, I don't think any other book gives Malekith as good a showing as this book does. We've seen Marathi in some stories take up a major sort of adversarial role in the Sons of Illyrian storyline, and we've also obviously got the Mouse Darkblade saga and all of that, but we never really see, I guess, what exactly happens with Malekith. We've never had him in sort of front and center in the entire time of fantasy. He's never been this sort of major a player, which is really cool to see. And if you are a Dark Elf fan, if you're a fan and you're waiting to see what Malerian is like, it's probably a good look at what Malerian is actually going to be like. A little bit regal, but very much the Shadow King. And so, in summary, this is a truly great story arc. I think this story, for me, is probably my favourite one of the End Times sagas. Like I said, I have read the End Times. I lived through the time of fantasy ending and all that. This, I think, is the best of the lot. I think there's so satisfying an end. There's so many satisfying storylines. There are maybe a few disheartening ones, but there are definitely some satisfying ones. And even some of the, I guess, lesser characters get a really cool ending to the story as well. I really like, this story arc. It has some great things as well that happen to it, and has some effects that even last right into the timeline of Age of Sigmar. And this sort of sets some things in motion into sort of the narrative we have for Age of Sigmar now. But like I said, I really enjoy this. This is a really fun book. Andrew M. Spooner really does bring it to life well, which is great. And, Gav Thorpe and Elves and Eldar all sort of go hand in hand for me. If you have read The Curse of Khaine, if you've read The End Times, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. And so that is the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And why not drop us a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you did enjoy it and you want to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here at Cinderful Gaming, we have a Discord server which is linked down in the video's description. We chat all things wargaming, not just Warhammer, a bunch of other war games, even some other things non-Warhammer related, and generally have a great time in there. Come and join in the conversation. Also, linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel if you want to see us keep making the content we do. We have Patreon and YouTube members, both of which are great ways to help support the channel, and you get a shout out at the end of the video, which we'll do in just a sec. But we also have a Teespring store and a Ko-fi store where you can grab yourself some channel merch as well to help support the channel in another way and get yourself something in the process. But as I said, a special shout out to all our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lyle, Out on Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan V, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Bloobs, Benjamin Swallows, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, and Nuss. And to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Ronya Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Osworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, John Castle, Davis Weird, James South, Dave Crozier, Dylan Areno, and James Tillman. And lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchbox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see pictured here on the screen and indeed all over the channel. And also a special thank you to everyone who comes on, helps make the battle reports on the channel, helps run our Discord server, and generally helps make the channel what it is today. Thank you all for watching once again, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.